Bam! Look at this. I want you guys to understand one thing about me. I put a question to myself. I said, in the time that you have countdown and in the time that we are ready for this show to start, can I go and can I make a cup of coffee, an espresso coffee specifically? And the answer was sort of. It's like half coffee in here. Executive decision had to be made. As you noticed, a little out of breath because not in shape. I had to stop the coffee maker with this load, switch a cup in, and yet we have some coffee. So some coffee is better than no coffee. But nonetheless, my name is RAF ESPARZA. Welcome to this installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day. I sure as hell am having a hell of a day, and I'm stoked that you're joining us. I'm even more excited to see my longtime good friend, Tim Freeman, who is on the other side of the world. Tim, how are you doing today, sir?
Just enjoying my coffee as well. I feel you. That cup switcheroo tactic is something that can only be pulled off by a coffee professional. Don't try it at home. You could get burned if you don't do it right. So hats off to you, Ralph. I'm having a great day, man. It's great to be back. We got some big things coming up this weekend in jiu-jitsu, and we got a great fight video lined up at the end. So gonna have a good show, my man.
We do. I'm trying to think. There was like a topic or two that planned out with you, but there was something that I said in the pre-discussion that we needed to talk about. Just to let you guys know, we got the word. We may not have a Kevin with us today. I know that is shocking to some of you. Unfortunately, he got called away to some other matters, so we do wish him the best. I'm sure we'll see him shortly, but nonetheless, I'm trying to think, Tim, there was some pressing issue in the world of jiu-jitsu, but I'll open it up to you. Was there something that you needed to bring to the table that was not put on the main board this week?
I feel like you are trying to lead me somewhere, and I'm feeling really bad, like I'm failing you as producer. You're prompting me to come up with this thing, and I'm like, what does Raf want from me? I don't know, Raf. Tell me, what is it?
I think you should know me enough by now. I'd just feed it to you and be like, well, Tim, there is something I want to talk about, and it is maybe the Super Bowl halftime show from 2005. Not the Janet one, the year after, when they brought in the oldest people like Paul McCartney and I think they brought in the Who and the Rolling Stones, and those were terrible shows. No, I would just tell you that. I think in this particular case, there's so much stuff happening in the world. We digest it all into one big megabyte. And one thing that I was noticing is that Tim has been incredibly busy, so I always try to give it a little bit of a chance to catch up on things. So was there nothing that you could think of that we were supposed to bring up? This is my way of double checking. It's not necessarily that there is something.
No, not necessarily, man. I mean, it's been a good week. I'll tell you what we should talk about, top of show, is I have been limiting my calorie intake because I eat like the world's going to end, and I constantly keep eating. And so I've done a pretty good job at that. I've shed a little bit of weight. I feel much better on the jiu-jitsu mats. And I'm going to be 47 years old in not too long, but I'm still whooping enough ass out there that I can get a little bit of respect, just a pinch.
So
that's pretty much what's going on for me in the jiu-jitsu world.
Maybe we should talk about this. I don't know if you saw me put this up, but do you ever get moments when your gym does something really nice for you and it's super sweet? And it's the equivalent of them doing like a bird dropping on your doormat, and you go, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this, but this is adorable.
Yeah.
I had a version of that this week, and I don't know if I could do the full overlays here. It'll take a second, but you do know that sometimes there is a meme or something that the internet truly loves, right? Like they really get into after a while. Our team, our gym owner, got into the current scene, if you would. And he was like, hey, I made something. And then just sent it in the group chat to everybody. I want to get your take on this because I don't know how I'm supposed to react to it. But I'll just preface it with that. But what is your response to this, Tim?
It's oh wow, you got me in an episode of The Simpsons thing.
It's one of those things,
That's
yeah. Now
that's great, man. But the Naga belt, it's like they're gonna put a belt on you. They have to make it. They can't just make up some initials like the grappling champion or something. It's got to be Naga.
it's how do I put this? There's a lot of stuff at play here, Tim. But it wasn't the only one they made. It's the only one I really didn't see before they put it up because they initially started me off with this one. And I felt like I don't know what to do with this one either because all of these ones, Tim, are progressively more in the space where I think to myself, we have too much technology. Like, legitimately, that could be the only answer to all of these veiled questions. But
I have some feelings about this. Can I get them out? I have some feelings about this picture.
No, hold on. Before you do, allow me to take you through the journey that I took. Because to me, this was me going like, this is what they started me off with initially. And I thought, when I saw this, I was like, is this how you guys see me? Because like, if it is, my strength and conditioning guy is going to feel really complimented. But they went from that one to another one that I was still kind of like, I didn't know how to feel. But I will tell you this. If you were to take any guess about me, Tim, what ethnicity would you say that I am?
I would say that you were Mexican. That's what I would say. Hispanic.
That's a good one. And you know what? It might be an advantage that you have having lived in California for a certain amount of time. You might be like, oh, that dude's a Mexican. Over the years, I've gotten everything. So I have gotten Puerto Rican. I have gotten Middle Eastern. I have gotten Filipino. I argue this one, though, in particular, makes me look the most Filipino I've ever looked in my life. So
it's Ralph Pacquiao right there. That's great,
It has entertained me so much that I really don't know what to do with any of this other than to say, I guess thank you. And our guys were being adorably sweet in doing it. But it did prompt some reactions out of me to go, what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to say thank you, Tim? Or like, what is the right protocol here?
This is a journey of like there's some complimentary things in here, but then there's some other things where you're like, did you guys really think this through? Because let's just walk through it real quick. They got this is Ralph Pacquiao right here.
Yes,
100. They got it. They nailed it. Can you go back to the previous? Okay, this is Ralph DeBlas, like in the best shape of his life. Okay. Now, this is good. Okay. Now let's go back to the next one.
Sure. You want to go to
the
original one. Okay.
Yes. Okay. This is Al Madrigal. Basically figures out that they don't even have you in a rash guard. They have you in a t-shirt, some dad shorts.
To be fair, if you're going to win Naga, that really is the best way to do it, Tim. I think the concern I have here is, how did I get so chunky in this one? And that I had to hit up my buddy and I was like, is there like a sliding scale of fatness that you were using here? Because I got in the first one, like in that first one, I thought to myself, yo, that's a big compliment. Like seeing this like version of myself, and I didn't make it, was like, damn, that's really cool. Thanks, guys. I really do appreciate it. But to go from this, Tim, this beautiful specimen of an AI generated beast, to then this is like, when did I let myself go? And I don't lose or gain weight crazily. Like I'm fairly consistent. So the fact of going from like great abs to literally just like this belt is holding on by a thread due to the imprint in my stomach, it took me on a journey of, I don't know what to do with any of this. Having said that, when I do beat people, I don't look far off from that, because I legitimately, I had a moment, Tim, that I had to think to myself, what do I look like when I have done well in a grappling competition? And all he did, my buddy, he took like a picture of me, like a selfie that I took, and it was just me on the side. So all it had was my giant head. And I said, like, what do I actually look like when I win a competition? And I have to be honest with myself, it's not far off. Like, AI did a pretty good job of knowing how the fuck I look. It's just, I want to make sure we understand something here. If you look at the dude on the right, that gut is not supported the same way the dude on the left is.
Yeah, and I guess the cartoon version of you wears his glasses while he grapples.
That's the same thing. Like, I have to tell the guy, like, no. Not only did you put the belt on me, which is odd at a local tournament, but that I said, hold on, bring these back. Okay, and go.
Yeah.
So
I want to see the camera.
I have to tell you, Tim, I have very little use for AI chatbots, and seeing my team express their love like this, it really did put me in a place of, I don't know how to react, but I think I'm going to react positively. And
Yeah.
I put it up to a sliding scale. And I have to say, I can tell my fans have my back, because when I put it up as a vote and I said, which of these really looks like me, the varying degree of accuracy has been, a lot of people go, big thumbs up to dude who's juiced to the gills. So Raf de Blas, A+. Raf Pacquiao was kind of like, all right, you wear some sleeveless shirts. We can kind of get behind that one. But very few people were into the actual trend. Very few people were like, that's the dude. Like, they said, I just don't see that. So it's very nice that my fans see things a little bit better for me than, I guess, chatbot did. But nonetheless, it's time that we move on to the board itself. Now, Tim, we have a lot of stuff to talk to, but we're not going to show that yet. That's just a little bit of a preview. We have a board full of topics that will eventually land on a fight. But for right now, I guess the question for you is, Tim, did you watch any of the IBJJF pans? Now, don't answer me yet. I have a way to test this theory. This clock that is up here over to the left of me, the right of the stage, I'm wondering, with this clock, how many results from IBJJF pans you can give me. Now, I recognize that's a tall order, but I'm assuming you might have at least seen something on an internet, aka on Instagram. So this is an open note test. I will give you 2 minutes and 10 seconds of this time to tell me some IBJJF results, and go.
Okay, well, I know a couple weight brackets. One is in the featherweights. We know Diego Pato won that division. This is a dude who's continuing to win. Colabate came in second. Cole's a guy that makes waves, and then you don't hear about him too much for whatever reason. I don't think it's because he's inactive. I just think that the jiu-jitsu media cycle doesn't pick up on him as fast for whatever reason. Tynan won the middleweight division. I don't think that's like a shock to anybody, but Andy Murasaki took second in that division, which is great at pans. And then I know that Adam Wardzinski won in the heavyweights and had a hell of a fight against Roberto Jimenez. Jimenez continues to be one of my favorite grapplers, period. And the only reason that I pay attention to what's going on at pans is because some of these guys I still really like to watch. It's really about the athletes. It's not so much the format that I want to see. It's not so much the presentation, definitely not the rule set, but I still appreciate what these athletes can do on a regular basis, even if I have to watch them in the gi, even if I have to watch them in a very highly restricted rule set, especially when you watch these guys compete in other rule sets and they're fire, especially Roberto Jimenez. When you see that guy in Who's Number One or the FPI shows, he's amazing, man. You put a gi on him, he's still amazing, just slightly reduced. But beyond that, I know the other big upset, and I think this might be at brown belt, was that Helena Crevar got defeated by Sarah Galval. And I thought that was kind of a big deal. I know it's in the gi, but Andre's daughter, Sarah, is starting to make some waves, and Helena really kind of holds that position as the young up-and-comer with the ladies. So that's my take, man.
Good job, Tim. You did ingest more than you claimed you did, because in our pre-show meetings throughout the week, when I send texts, I'm like, did you watch anything? And you go, no. And I go, I don't believe you. And I wanted to put it to a test, but I do feel like that is a segment I want to do in the future when we do have all three of us on here, which is who can name drop more things that happened at this tournament that nobody allegedly watched. Because I think it's impossible not to see some results. But I'm going to put more time on this clock just to kind of go over this one idea. And here's the idea, Tim. So you were wondering about Kolabate and why he doesn't get more coverage. Well, didn't he and Pato actually just kind of split the win? Like, didn't they do a gentleman's closeout on that podium?
Oh, they might have. I didn't actually watch the finals for that. I just perused the results on that.
So I think
is Pato Atos?
I don't know, but I saw that Kolabate did a closeout, and they were trying to figure out why. And when they did a closeout again, it was begging the question of, like, why do we keep doing this? And more importantly, like, what is the structural appeal? Because I like hearing coaches give their explanations for, well, I didn't make them have a match because they're like brothers. Or, you know, I thought there was a way that I read that Pato might have been the person who injured Cole, or whoever he split that podium with, that he injured the person. So why would you have them go out and do that? And it just was so maddening that if you're the UFC and you go, we're putting more money into this, like, we're in a new era now. Why would you do that? Like, why would you give any money to that? And couple that with our next topic that we'll get to here in a second. I think it's in a little bit of an area where we could give some notes on it. But Tim, not that we're going to solve closeouts, but what make you of this? Let's say two of your students make it to the finals. Do you as a coach make them battle it out for the honor of being Pan's world champion? Or do you say, I can see their point, maybe I'm not going to let them fight it out?
Listen, hell no, I disagree with what they did. If these guys were my students and they wanted to close it out, I would highly discourage them from doing it. 10th Planet doesn't do that already, which I super appreciate. Beyond that, you got these guys wanting to get paid. I want to get mine. I want to get paid. And then I'm going to go out in the championship fight, and I'm not going to fight. I'm going to shake hands and defer to someone else who's on my team. That's ridiculous, because we don't want to have any grief between us. Look, you guys already know. Cole and Pato, they already know. They already have an idea of who would potentially win, but you still got to fight it out. It's not about you. It's for the sport. It's for the fans. It's for the whole thing at that point. I think it's a super selfish move. I hate seeing that. I really despise seeing that. And jiu-jitsu might be, I'm trying to think of other sports where this happens. Jiu-jitsu might be the only place where this happens. It's a terrible look.
It's kind of weird, I think, because of the inherent combat element of it. But like in tennis, the sisters, the Serenas, if you would, or the Williams sisters, when they would get to the end, it wasn't like their dad goes like, all right, Wimbledon, call it off. These are my girls. And this was in reaction to your question, which Espionage put, it looks like Pato is under AJ now. So
he is. I forgot about that.
The reason why I bring it up is you don't naturally think about it. And I didn't put it together until they'd podium, and I tried to figure out, like, why did the result happen that way? And I will tell you this. When you leave your education up to the YouTube or Instagram comment section, you proceed at your own risk. So a lot of the times, if you ever see me on this show going, I'm not sure if this is correct, it's usually because I read a YouTube comment that I go, I don't know if that's true. And the hard part of this is other people are watching this like a hawk of, oh, they're associated with this team or that team. I don't always find out that information because I just usually see highlights of their footage. I'm not watching them on a regular basis. Most of the times, if it's a pretty certain athlete, I don't necessarily care what they had for lunch. I don't care if they're hawking their new product. I am not the demo for that. But there are a lot of people who are in that lifestyle stuff. It's like, oh, did you see they cross-trained over here? And you know they can't cross-train. You know that. You know that.
Ooh.
So that means that they're not with that gym anymore. And I'm like, sounds great there, Matlock. Good work. Way to figure that one out. You guys just tell me what the information is.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we will return to that at a future time. Espionage, thank you very much for that information. I'm not criticizing you of doing it, but, you know, if the shoe does fit, I'm just saying. Nonetheless, there was an interesting element that happened over at the IBJJF that did prompt one of their more prominent athletes, Anna Vieira, who went out on her Instagram and said that the IBJJF, while competing for one of their events, didn't do enough to take care of her when she was injured. She was choked unconscious, and as a result of that, they waited, in her opinion, a very long time to get her care that really did have some significant damage. And it did seem that she was trying to get them to pay for it, since it did happen on their mats, and that only from public pressure did they really do anything. So I guess this begs the question, Tim, what do we expect from IBJJF, and what can we learn from this warning that she's trying to do? Because it seems like right now, I think and I hope that she is all okay, but I think she's doing it more to raise awareness, like, hey, athletes, they might not care about you.
Yeah, I think that what's happening, and it's happening everywhere. It's not just happening to IBJJF. We saw ADCC have a lot of issues, right, in the last couple of years. As the sport is professionalizing and the athletes are becoming professional, the promotions are demanding more from the athletes. Like, you got to be professionals. You got to do this. You got to do that. Well, the athletes are in turn demanding more from the promotions and saying, like, yo, is this the real deal or not? And in this case, with Anna Vieira, and it's just not her. There's been a lot of negative comments put out there about the IBJJF. It's kind of been that way forever. And I will say that for all the grief that they have, they do run a very well-organized tournament system, right? And, a lot of people are employed by them, and they do a pretty good job overall for what they're doing. Having said that, there's a big gripe right now that athletes aren't getting paid by the IBJJF. And in many cases, athletes are paying to compete in the IBJJF, which is insane when you really think about it. And if someone goes out there and gets hurt, like, Anna wasn't just choked unconscious. She was unconscious for 15 minutes. That's a long time. Now, that doesn't mean she didn't have oxygen to her brain for 15 minutes, but she was not conscious. And it was only until there was pressure to even get an ambulance there, because according to her, there wasn't one even there at the time. So as this whole sport starts to grow, everyone's going to be held accountable in one way or another, and everyone's going to have to step their game up. And just because you're an established game in town doesn't mean the future is always going to have a spot for you if somebody else comes in and steps their game up. We've already seen that with CJI. So I think it is a warning shot, and it's probably necessary. I don't think it's unwarranted. I don't, 'cause sometimes you see that people just griping. I don't think that's the case. So, I think good for them that they helped. It's not that great of a look that they had to be badgered into doing it. But now they're going to have to figure out how they're going to approach this moving forward in the future, because it will happen again. So
it kind of feels like it goes a little bit towards what is always concerning about the U.S. healthcare system. Where do you ever have this moment where somebody has something happen to them and you see a GoFundMe and you go, well, I want to go fund them and I want to help out here. But how many people need GoFundMes? Like, this is concerning.
Yeah.
You see something like this for Anna and you go, that shouldn't happen. And the fact that it does, and there has to be pressure applied, there's always stuff that we don't know. But
Sure.
I think for athletes, they're willing to concede there are external factors that happen. It's just how you react to things. And I feel like that is always the love and care that you have to put in. It's tough because of how many people compete as well, that you could have 2 injuries happening at once that are pretty important. How do you prioritize them? And then how many medics do you have? And are they being utilized in such a way like it's a very concerning thing. And I think it is also extra concerning when people pay all these fees and there's a general consensus of where does our money go? And people always think to themselves, I don't know what we're doing, but the IBJJF seems to be pretty well off on their own. So
yeah,
a lot of stuff that is very concerning here that, anyway, I have 2 apologies here. The first is, Anna, we obviously hope you're good. We hope all is fine with you. We hopefully look forward to seeing you return back to competition. And 2, a personal apology. I couldn't get a better photo, and I really did try. But you know what happens when somebody has a look on their face that they're pissed off at a certain thing or they're explaining something. I took about 5 or 6 different screenshots. None of them were good. And as I sit here looking at that photo, I think I could have done a better job. So, Anna, my apologies on that. But that's the screenshot. I'm also not using AI to like make it have a happy face or anything like that, or make you be a cartoon. So
you should ask your team. You should ask your guys to do it at your gym.
I thought about being like, can you guys use your technology to make this work? And then I said, that's a dumb idea. But nonetheless, we press on to our next topic, which, Tim, there's been some reveals. Now, we knew very quickly what the EBI or the Eddie Bravo team is going to look like for the Craig Jones Invitational number 2. But now new word is coming out on how they're going to deal with the Australasia, which is like a weird thing. They're like right on there. You see it. Australasia is what they're kind of calling themselves. But they're going to do a trial system for 3 divisions. They do have 2 slots that are already promised. So, Tim, what are we learning from this? And do you happen to know what those 2 slots are? Because I already think one of them is pretty random, not random, but pretty well recommended if you were.
Yeah, so as far as I know, the 2 slots go to, it's 77 kilograms goes to Levi Leary Jones, which I think is the one that everybody kind of knew. Like whatever weight he shows up at, he's going to get that spot. And then at 88 kilograms, Lucas Kennard. I saw something that Lachlan put out there about having some trials to make this happen. I think that's interesting, but I also think that it's a weird, slippery slope to like Willy Wonka jiu-jitsu land. What stops another coach from saying, hey, if you want to be on my team, you have to run up that mountain. It's 18 miles, and the guy that gets up there the fastest is on the team. Like it's kind of odd to qualify, let each coach like qualify their own guys, but I don't know, maybe they know better than I do and it will be cool. I heard that so I think we know now that New Wave is going to have a team with Danaher as the coach. We know that B Team is going to have a team with Dima is the coach. We know that the 10th Planet team, Eddie, just like day one, Craig's going to do, oh, here's my team. He was like, we're in. He was like the guy that you go, hey, I'm having a party in 2 weeks at my house. I'll be there. What time? Like no invite. I'm coming. So Eddie got his name down quick. And now Lachlan has a team. There's going to be a Misfits Europe and a Misfits America, but I have no idea of what that even means. Like who's going to be on those teams.
So, okay, other news. And I haven't quite understood what this meant, but I think we're learning more about it because Craig did these news drops in a tub, and you know, you have to
Yeah.
want to watch him in a tub to hear the news. Like, again, I have to go to the comments and just be like, can you just tell me, like, summary of what he said? But nonetheless, there's a wild card element that I think is making more rounds. So from this explanation, it seems that a wild card means you could almost seduce a team member from somebody else. Like, I don't know what to make of this other than we are going to get a little bit more of a game show element to this one, I feel. And that may not be a bad thing. So I would say if you guys find the information on how they're going to do the wild card, that is a pretty big factor, because then it's a matter of, that's cool if you have trials for these sorts of things. But if you have trials and you can seduce, it might suck to the athlete that wins the trials, but you got to go up to them and be like, bro, there's a deal on the table to get Joseph Chen. I'm just saying, like, what do you say to that? You can't say anything. So I think we're in a very odd stage as to what may or may not happen there. But nonetheless, Espionage 3 did ask a question, which is, what about your boy Kit Dale? Will we see Kit at CJI 2? That's a great question. Kit had a really good return to form over at Subversive with us. And I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I don't think I would say I would be surprised if I saw him at another Subversive. So just saying. More to come on that later. Nonetheless, I don't know. I feel like he's so good that you could plug him in anywhere, and he definitely is a great experience factor. I do feel like these teams are going to be hindered just slightly by this process, because there's a lot of recognizable names that aren't necessarily the names that are doing the best grappling right now. And I feel like if somebody really does their homework for CJI and puts together a dope as fuck modern team, I feel like those are the people that you got to look out for, because you're seeing some names that have been released, or at least talked about, that are incredible grapplers in terms of legacy. But a modern game moves very quickly. And with that in mind, I don't know that sometimes the biggest names are going to be the best of teams. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, I mean, your guess is as good as mine, sir. So we'll see how that one plays out. But thank you for your question, Espionage. We're going to press on to our next topic here, which is MCBJJ, or main character jiu-jitsu. Well, after winning the belt at Subversive, Kamoy Anderson is taking it back to main character jiu-jitsu, where he is the head honcho over there. So very happy to see that. But there are some really fun things that are happening on that event. Tim, I'm going to ask you, what can you tell us about main character jiu-jitsu that is happening? I think it's Sunday, actually, now that I start to look at those dates.
It's the 30th. It's on Sunday. Well, there's a few really interesting matchups on the card that you're gonna want to watch. And Kamoy always puts on a good show. The format's fun, so it's usually a pretty good watch. But look, the marquee fight is a great fight. Andy Varela against Wallace and Oliveira. Anytime you get Varela on the mats, it's gonna be fun to watch. Like, either something's going to happen, even if he just runs through somebody. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but even if he does, it's still a lot of fun to watch. If he doesn't and he gets frustrated and he smacks somebody, that's compelling too. So that's going to be a great matchup. Speaking of smacks, I think the one that I'm looking forward to seeing the most is Katie Laba going up against Katie Bochnek. And I apologize, Katie, but I don't know how to pronounce the last name properly. That was my best shot. But this is a real vengeance match. This is a match with two ladies who do not like each other. If you go to their Instagram right now, within the last 24 hours, they have been beefing with each other. Like, this is a real match. Like, they're going to have, this is going to be like lumberjack style WWF. You're going to have to surround the mats with other athletes so nobody can get in and nobody can get out. Like, they're going to have to settle this beef. Once it's settled, losers got to take 3 slaps, which is fantastic. I can't wait to see that. Outside of that, we got some PGF veterans on this card. Brad Schneider against Sam Schwarzenfeld. Hunter Colvin's on the card. So overall, it's going to be a good night of grappling. And then there's a big championship fight between Morgan Black and Natasha Drugan for the 135-pound title fight. I think it's on Flow, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's on Flow. So check that out. I think it'll be a good card.
Okay, thank you for that, Tim. I would ask this, though. What would the parameters need to be for you to agree to get slapped 3 times?
Ooh. Well, I mean, I guess there's a couple ways we could do that. One is if it was for a really good cause, like every time you slap me, you're going to give, $5,000 to Guardian Gym, then I'd be like, all right, I'll take a few smacks. If it was for the show,
you don't get to go right now. There's no way you get to tie the fact that somebody slaps your face with a good return to America. Like, hey, do you want to help cure cancer? Slap this face 3 times. Hunger is a huge issue. Man. I did ask the question, but I didn't think the answer was going to be, listen, this face is priceless unless there's a homeless person that could use a meal and could benefit off of me getting hit in the face. Because then I start to think of myself, what the fuck are we doing? And why can't we just give the money? You were going to give the money anyway. Like, does anybody not think that through? Whatever they're like, hey, if you do this, then maybe we could be a good person. It's like, it sounds like you have money and you could just donate that shit. But instead, we have to go with this pomp and circumstance of, well, I would donate it, but Tim has a very slappable face. And if that face don't get slapped, those homeless orphans don't get food.
I mean, that's one context I would do it in. The other is if it was for humor and perhaps we were slapping each other with like a fish or a pie or something like that. Just reenactment.
Just looking for the most random fucking items you can find. The first one you go to is a fish. Like somebody's got a Billy the Bass fish. They're just like, I don't use it for shit. But maybe if I hit Tim with it, it will go to good use. Like, it sounds like the mother is just like, you never use your Billy the Bass fish. You gotta go use it.
This is the evolution of Power Slap. Jesus. You're going to get to pick your fish. You get to pick your fish. They bring an ice thing out. You're like, I'm going to go with the halibut. No, we got the halibut.
You know what it is? It sounds, when you say it like that, it makes me think like that's when the mother stops being like, you haven't used your fish. Go get your father. And your father's like, go get my good gefilte.
Don't bring me no grouper.
I cannot believe this.
You're going to get carp slapped.
I would tell you this. When these things happen, Tim, they always tell me a little bit. I know when I ask an open-ended question, it can bring many different results. These are the ones that when I say, like, what would it take for you to get slapped? You know what my answer is? Nothing, because I'm not doing it. Yours was, well, do they have oversized cartoon mallets? Because I could be into that. And it's always something that I don't expect where I go, I guess that's an answer. I don't know that it's satisfactory in the sense of maybe giving this question the honor it deserves, or perhaps taking it far too seriously. But I digress.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Tim, did you know Eddie Bravo once famously said that jiu-jitsu is a douchebag filter? Well, okay. It's 2025. Let's see if that still stands. This week, Ivanka Trump was put in a very, very expensive video to show her training. Yes, her kids have been training, and she decided to show that she can hit an Americana out of nowhere. Not to be outdone, Craig Jones said this week, I'm going to go train with the Zuck. Mark Zuckerberg was seemingly about to get an armbar on Craig Jones and is still, question mark, not the donor that was anonymously giving them gifts. So I ask you, in our year of the Lord 2025, Tim, is jiu-jitsu still a douchebag filter?
You know, it is, but it has a really bad case of jaundice right now. It's like there's some stones stuck in the filter You know what I'm saying? Like some people hang around a little longer than what we would like them to. Uh, for the mat rats, I would say yeah. For the casuals, for the pedestrians, for the tourists that kind of come check it out a little bit, spend a little time jumping in and out. It doesn't filter those folks out too much. And people jujitsu obviously is on the map now, which is insane because I feel like for so long we were like the group home of sports. We were just like nobody cared about anything we were doing, and we were dying for attention and we got so little attention. Guys like you and me said, "You know what? I'll give you guys attention." Right? We was like, "We'll be the attention givers. Let's do it." And now it's a huge deal, and you see it on all the major news outlets, and you see famous people who go, "You know what? I want to be cool. I want to look good." So they show up, and it's usually the same gyms. If you look at the gyms that they're actually going to, it's kind of the same staple of gyms. Not talking shit, man. If they came to listen, if Ivanka wants to train with me at 10th Planet Nashville, I have an extremely attractive private lesson package. I would love to talk to you and Jared about it. I can get the whole family in. Great rates. It's going to be the best jiu-jitsu ever. Like, I get it, but yeah, I think it's a douchebag filter, but we got some stones stuck in there.
Thank you for that. Let me just say this real quick. All right. Jiu-jitsu, we're in a weird space. We want to be bigger, and this is what comes with being bigger. Do you really want to be bigger? Like, legitimately ask yourself this every single day. You see footage of the celebrities using our sport to basically rehab their images. What they're trying to say is they're just like you. They can do a shitty armbar just like you. I just think to myself, when I see this, I don't care if they train or not. I am in a particular place of, I think jiu-jitsu is for everybody. Having said that, sometimes it'd be cool to vote some off the island. I'm just saying. Sometimes you find out that person is kind of a shit human being. So, in these particular cases, I just want people to look with a skeptical eye. That doesn't mean be unwelcoming. It's just when you see them and you put in the comment section, "Wow, that's amazing. That's badass. I can't believe you're doing that." It's like, well, why are you doing that? Is it because there is almost a sports washing that happens in politics that is currently happening in MMA? It's happening. And it's very strange if you are the person accusing certain things that happen in, say, like the Middle East and say, well, they sports wash over there. And yet we have kind of a red carpet extended to our president when he wants to go to a wrestling tournament, which, again, great for wrestlers. I like the attention that they get off of it. But it is a little skeptical when you see them there and being like, why are you here? This doesn't lower the cost of eggs or help our health care or anything like that. So I just want you guys, whenever people have these things happening, just always have your guard up, applaud them for finding their way to the mats, wish them best on their journey. But please do not try to convince me these people are good people because they share the mats. Because I want to keep our average good. And I will tell you, over the time that we've seen this happen, there are some shitty people who have made their way to the mats. So, douchebag filter 2025. It's a little rough. Just saying.
It's like a paper coffee filter.
It for sure is, dude. And you know what? Nobody's changed it out. So it's been there since the 80s. That's essentially what that coffee filter is. You know what it wasn't? It wasn't my Nespresso. This fucking shit. Man, you should have seen the sweat on my brow when I go, are you warmed up yet? And I saw on the clock counter, it was straight down to 30 seconds with the theme song. And I'm like, coffee, show, responsibility. So,
did you push the button more than once to try to make it kick on quicker?
Man. Nah, man. I was staring at that thing. I was burning a hole through that. I was like, you get warmed up. Like, there's nothing you can do. You're just seeing it blink and you go, come on, you bitch. And then nothing happens. Maybe I could have said nicer words to it. There is that. But for the most part, nerve-wracking. I did get some coffee, so I will take that. And it did make me feel better. So
I pound that button. I push it like the crosswalk button. I'm like, go, 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 go.
Are you the person that also is pushing the button at the fucking elevator? Because it's
Oh
not
yeah.
necessarily going to make it any faster. And it says, oh, Wallow, you do have a very, very credible question here, and I will get to it. Let me just pull that back here. The question you're asking is, why is she wearing a karate gi, Americana gi, or a karate America gi? So the thing that I found here, it wasn't necessarily that she was wearing a gi, because some people do that. I like the gi. It was that she looked like she was auditioning for the next Charlie's Angels with her blade hands, like, huh. And you go, oh, that's gonna be the fucking thing that people make fun of us for again, huh? Shit.
Yeah.
She just made us look like
That's
again.
the traditional Valente Brothers gi that has like the high water sleeves. They're kind of like up a little bit, you know. Definitely not IBJJF compliant. Definitely wouldn't pass that checker tool. There's no way.
There's nothing funnier. I mean, here's what I'll say. If you go back to that footage, watch her hit her throw, and then ask yourself, how quickly did that check clear? That's all. Nonetheless, make your money where you can, everybody. All right, we're going to our next topic, which is EBI is going to happen on Sunday. I'm very excited for this. Tim, there's a lot of great opportunities, some familiar names that are going to be competing out at the Mexico. What can you tell us about the EBI that is taking place on Sunday, sir?
So I gotta tell you, in my honesty here, I don't know a ton about this card. I feel like it didn't show up on the radar too much. I do know that the featherweights are fighting at EBI 23, and I believe there's a combat jujitsu card as well, right on the 30th. At least that's what I've been seeing on EBI's website. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know that the featherweights are going to have a traditional EBI tournament in Mexico City, which is pretty dope. And you know, I can tell you this: EBI is always exciting, and the guys that show out and do well on EBI, they usually start doing well everywhere else. And right now, it's kind of a cool time because we're seeing a lot of the same dudes at a lot of the different venues or promotions, and we're getting to see them in different formats. EBI is a very fun format to watch. It's super fan friendly. I feel like out of the pioneering promotions, EBI was the one that figured out the entertainment formula better than the others, and it kind of catapulted its success. It's still around today out of all those older promotions, so it'll be a great card.
Let me just name some names here real quick, just so people get an idea of who they can expect to see at this upcoming Sunday's EBI. You got Jordan Worth, who's always a fun time. You also have John Chandler, who could be a spoiler. David Garcia, who I've had the pleasure of running into in meeting once. He's great. You got the Duck himself, Gabriel Dafron. Super stoked for him to return. He is a former champion in his own right. You've also got Zach Schneider, who actually dropped in on this broadcast a little bit earlier. I think he thought we were going to be talking about him earlier. Womp womp. You had to wait. And then, of course, you got Tim Elliott, Mauricio Rios, and then Matt Mash, who is the previous winner for, I want to say it was Combat. And
Yeah.
super happy for him. But that's a pretty decent group of people. I'm happy to see them get their shine. Some favorites I think have to stand out. Matt, really good. Would not surprise me if he has a great performance. We'll get to see what he looks like without Combat in this, though, because I feel like he was a really good kid who understood how to combine the Combat style. John Chandler could be a spoiler. He is beatable. We have seen that happen. But I would say those are two big standouts to me. Of course, Gabriel Dafron, a former champ in his own right. And for this last slot, because I don't know what the bracket is yet, Jordan Worth or Zach Schneider. Those are two of the people that I would say I can't split. as to who actually would advance without seeing a bracket. But those are some people to keep eyes out on. And that is happening this Sunday. So get excited. We'll have coverage from that. I actually just got a text while this show was going on that said we will have some form of coverage. So we'll get some kind of video or something. I'm not quite sure what it is yet. Okay. We always love giving love to our friends over at EBI. So, Tim, as we transition to our fight of the week.
Out of my ass, I apologize.
What's that?
Real quick, I'm sorry. There's no combat. I was speaking out of turn. There's no combat jiu-jitsu this week. I misread Jordan Worth's.
No, Tim, here's the thing.
Oh,
I totally swept that under the rug. I don't know if you saw it.
I know, but I just feel like, move.
I heard you say it, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not the case. And then I looked at it, and I can tell you the reason why you might have been confused is that they bill some of these guys as lightweight combat jiu-jitsu competitors.
Yes.
And that's where it does get tricky because, hey, listen, dude, you might have been on Let's Make a Deal and Price is Right.
Right.
They're made by the same people. So sometimes it can get confusing. It's like, were you on The Price is Right? No. Okay. But you were on Let's Make a Deal. It's like, yeah. And it's like, well, you're not eligible. You can't be on both these game shows. Damn. But I want to win one. Like, shit comes up. Sometimes you're on the crossover. Sometimes you're on the main original crispy recipe.
Yeah.
But I had 100% heard you say it and just go like, we're just going to move past it. Nobody needs to know that. So I had your back, Tim. But you're too goddamn honest to the American public. Have you learned nothing from international committees that have been going on? Tim, if you're in the group chat, you don't have to say you were in the group chat, even if you were. You're just like, what group chat? It's like, did you disclose some shit in there? No. Did you? Lame. Wow.
That when I got here.
Wow. Way to be lame and tell people about the group chat. Loser, am I right? That's all you have to do now. Nobody needs to tell the truth. But I do need you to tell me the truth about this fight. Tim, you found another gem. I like without looking, I just tried to do this as I was placing it.
I saw that, yeah.
It's a lot, and I didn't want to spoil anything, but from the 2 seconds of material I saw, it looks good. What are we in for today?
This is what we're in for. This is the Colombian remake of the famous Thunder Road scene from the movie Grease. Filmed between the 1st and 4th Street Bridge on the LA River was dried up, and Danny Zuko had to take the wheel for Kinnicky because he went to pick a penny up that was dropped and he got clacked in the head. This is basically what happened when they tried to reenact this in Colombia. Didn't go down as planned. Major fight broke out, and there is a move in this fight that I have never seen before, and it made me so happy when I saw it that I said, yeah, this is the one. This is it.
I have to say, Tim, before I press play on this is perhaps the most dad-like glee I see out of you. Like, I imagine you on the couch sifting through, laughing. The whole family doesn't give a shit. You try showing it to them. They go, it's okay. But you're just sowing such in delight that when you share it with us, by the time it makes it to me, I go, well, this has been vetted. So I can trust Tim on this. So Tim, I'm going to play this video here in a second.
All right.
Feel free to take it away, sir.
So here we go. They're getting ready to race, and the 2 gentlemen, 3 get in a fight, and they start scrapping. Dude in black doesn't want that much, but he decides to run uphill, and then here he comes. Just watch this from the left of your screen. This is maybe one of the best things I've ever seen. And then a 4th dude appears. Now, guy in truck is like, I'm getting out of here, right? And then starts to break up, and now some dude comes walking by with, it's like he's just walking somewhere with a jug of gas. He's like, I'm setting this bitch on fire. But I don't know what was going on, but the dude ran up the bank and did a flying kick. So they never filmed the scene. We don't know who won the race, but
I'm glad that you gave the context that you gave, because it would look silly if people didn't ever see that footage. they'd just be like, what is Tim talking about? And then you see it and you go, I may not know everything about that movie, but I know enough to go, okay, sir. Allow me to walk you through my interpretation of this.
Please.
Okay, first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Frankie Quinones, otherwise known as Cholo Creeper, who obviously is the star of this one. All right, Tim, you're not fully Mexican, so some of this may not make sense to you. When brown people fight, you may be asking yourself, why is the dude centered here who has nobody to fight with there? He's known as the Lookout. So that gentleman over there looking like a Cholo version of Voldemort is just trying to make sure that no one runs up on anybody. And you might ask yourself, is that an important role? The answer is obviously yes, because run-ups happen all the time. Now, this card that's gotten left here, like it's an accessory in Street Fighter 2. It's very interesting to see its placement in the mud with the hood up. But what's more concerning is the amount of people who are watching this. How many people would you estimate are watching this right now in that crowd, Tim?
There's probably 100 people watching this fight right now.
Like, we like to make fun of these people every once in a while. I can't deny the appeal of how many people are there. Like, we have had a lot less people at jiu-jitsu events with prominent names, but these no-name cholos 100% outdrew us. So before we make fun of them, let's understand and respect their spectacle. So yes, this is why I do love this, but I also want to point this out before we go to the next scene, which is, look, this dude clocks him, and they actually switched partners because it looked like this was going to go a different way. These two were going to fight. Nope, fool you. Voldemort swings on out to the lookout spot while Frankie Quinones goes to work. Gets some good overhands here. Doesn't really mix up his swings, but is doing just enough. And oh shit, you got Blue Shirt who's starting to get some swings in here, but catches one. Now, Tim, you were talking a little bit about the confusion here. Did we not just discuss the importance of Voldemort supposed to be the lookout? Look, you're not in the fight. Your whole job is to prevent somebody from flipping in and just flying into the fight. And Lord Voldemort, you fucking failed, bro. That dude fucking flew in. And when he flew in, that was on your watch, okay? Listen, this is nothing other than a supine kick as done by Swerve Strickland in AEW. Saw it live and in person. It's magical. And when he hits it, look at this. This beautiful clock in. Here's the one thing he didn't figure, though, Tim. He didn't figure out how to land. Because when he did it, he just went straight into it. And right after he connects, he's like, oh, shit, now I got to figure out how to land. And at this point, everybody rushes in. But nothing is funnier than the car on the left. That just kind of dips in like it's at a Universal tram ride where it's on cue being like, like Jaws a little bit late on its cue being like, sorry, I was getting lunch real quick. I'm back. I'm good. Now, this is where I love humanity. This is where everybody needs to give their speech and be like, yo, fools, are we done? Are we good here? And then look at this dude with a bag and glasses on his fucking head. Walks through zero problems. Tim?
He's walking to another broken down car somewhere.
Could you imagine, though, if really this was just what happened if they were waiting for AAA to show up? Like, the wait time was them going like, man, there's some real shit happening with my car here. Well, we got time for a fight, gents. So, great pick, by the way. So, thank you for that. I do want to kind of very quickly go into one comment. So, when we air this live, we do like a widescreen version and a vertical version. And sometimes when we do the vertical version, we meet some new friends because I think it goes on the stories. Last week we did this. Somebody was like, introduce yourselves. Sure. This one, I think that it was meant in an innocent way, which was like maybe they had a hard time hitting my voice or hearing it. But now that I think about it more and more, when it says your voice is cutting, I don't know if they mean like it's hurtful. So I had to take a step back and I'm like, oh shit. Do they mean good or bad? Is it cutting, like cutting in and out? Or is it just like, man, that's some really mean comments that you had to say about Ivanka Trump, Raf? Like, could have been a little nicer there, bud.
Clark.
So,
I took it to be like cool news speak from the kids. Like, your voice is cutting. Like, good shit, dog.
the kids say it like it's shorthand for cocaine. They're just like, man, that's
Yeah.
some cutting voice right there, bro. Thanks, man. Wallow J earlier said, hello, gents. Have a great show. We did. Thank you for that. And then Stephen Aiken's asking this, which is, where's my belt? Now, I think it's when I was putting up the photos of me with the belt, which I did win. So calm your shit. But nonetheless, I don't know if we're talking about him and Kevin's belt, and Kevin's not here to defend himself.
Well, this is the kind of guy Stephen Aiken is, though. He's a sneak attacker. He won't, and I know this from personal experience, okay? Bobby, he will sneak up on you. He's not, and so it doesn't shock me that Kevin's not here and he's going to come slum in the comments.
I'm glad you said it. It's a little confusing to me on what this all means. I think after last week,
very Georgia behavior.
It is very Georgia. You're not wrong on that, honestly. I can't tell if this is par for the course and it's good, or if we should be concerned and hire security for Kevin. But now Kevin's resigned in his. I have to beat up Stephen Aiken. But at the end of last week's show, it seemed like Stephen Aiken was sort of signaling that the two of them have to eat the bear, which I only can assume means that they're fighting the bear together, and that in order to solidify their dominance over the bear, they have to eat the bear, which I'm not sure is an actual thing, but I'll just go ahead and assume it is. So having said that, like, what are we supposed to do if those two boys fight?
What I'm going to do is hold back until I can figure out who's clearly going to win. Then I'm going to get on their side.
That's good.
So,
good call. It was interesting that they went back and forth, and at a certain point, it was mentioned by me that I'm open. I'm not committed one way or another. Kevin wasn't here today, so, like, could be persuaded. So, like, I'm in my Paul Heyman mode, and, it's open season. I need you guys to make pitches to me to be your wise man. And somebody's like, hey, Raf, just so you know, you can't be Paul Heyman because you're not that fat. And I was thinking to myself, you're right. But then I saw this happen. And apparently, I am more in Paul Heyman's shape than most people would like to give me credit for. So, joke's on you, my friends. Might be a real thing.
Oh, man.
Nonetheless, Tim, feel free to tell the people where they can find you, good sir. Go ahead and plug all of your stuff, as is your wont to do.
Yes. Before I do that, I want to give a big shout out to my homie Jonathan, who is watching on a hammock in the Dominican right now on vacation, which is, I don't know if that's good or bad. You're watching the bullpen, but thanks for watching, dog. Outside of that, you can catch me at Inside BJJ on your social media platforms. If you're out in Nashville, come see us, 10th Planet Nashville. We love to get visitors and drop-ins. And if you're out in Stockton, California, maybe you're there for a funeral, you're there for court, you're there to clean up some kind of mess, then drop in and chain with my homies out there at 10th Planet Stockton. Raf, great show. You're a freaking professional, man. Nice job. It's always a pleasure to do this with you.
Likewise, sir. That was a lot of fun. And just so people know, Tim, sometimes I feel like the love of coffee gets a little overshadowed. I know there's something that we share when we need to get our energy boosted up. And it could happen to be this. What am I looking at here, Timothy Freeman?
What that is the only drink that I will take preference above coffee for. That is salt electrolytes. a stellar electrolyte drink. Get off the sugar water. You need a little salt in your game, especially if you're a grappling athlete. Riley and crew at Salt are fantastic people. They really help the jiu-jitsu community, so you should help them. You can check them out at saltelectrolytes.com.
And is there like a promo for the bullpen?
I think it's bullpen 15. I believe that's what it is. Yeah, you get 15% off. So do it, man.
Good. Because when
wait.
Oh, I think when Riley talked to me, I was like, yeah, do we have one? And he was like, yeah, I made you one. I was like, oh, I didn't know it still existed. I thought that was just during the Craig Jones Invitational. He's like, no, you have one. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I just want to make sure. So big love out to our good friends over at Salt. Very happy to announce that they also work with both of our shows. So it's not just like they support us here at the Bullpen. They support our shows individually. They support Tim over at Inside BJJ and me over at the Grappling Hour. So Tim, I wanted to say thank you for that. And I'm going to go ahead and start closing this bitch out. But my thanks to you and my thanks to all of you who watched this week. A few reminders. One, if you like this show, hit us up in the comment section with your likes, your subscriptions, your random ass comments. And for some of you who said my voice was cutting in and out, sorry, I don't think it was. Or watch the replay, really is what it comes down to. Nonetheless, a couple quick reminders. If you like the show, do those things. You can also find me at patreon.com/grappling hour. You can see my interviews 30 days before anybody else. And we got DeAndre Cobre, who's coming on the show very, very soon. We filmed that one, and it's going to be up in the near future. So the recent winner of the Sapatero Invitational 100K winner, we talked to him. We asked him how he's getting his money, where it's going, etc., etc. Also, a shit ton of talk about eco stuff because you guys love that shit. So we got to do that. I do want to make sure that you guys are checking us out. Find my buddy Tim Freeman at Inside BJJ. All of those places. Find me at the Grappling Hour, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the rest. Go to those places. You know that shit is great. And last but not least, if you like this merch, check this out. Go to RAF ESPARZA, RAFESPARZA.com/merch. Get you some Grappling Hour merch. All of that goes directly back into the show. All right, ladies and gents, for all of us here at the Bullpen, thank you so much for watching this week. We had a blast talking with you guys. You were always, always beloved here. But for now, it's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats. What we're witnessing is real. The participants